10%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Left, beat left.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah!
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? Kicking it stateside back again. August 12th, Thursday. We have Premier League football starting up tomorrow, my friend. This is what we've kind of been waiting for since the end of last season in May. And just from the delayed COVID season, it feels like it's been like 3 seasons in a season and a half has played out so far. It's been absolutely nuts. And again, we're already back to it tomorrow. Your boys, Arsenal, take on new boys, Brentford, at 3 o'clock. We're going to get into all of that stuff. We have Lord Walker coming on eventually to talk about the Premier League preview, what's to come, who we got in our top 6, who's going to get those Champions League spots, and the all-important, unfortunately, who will get relegated, the bottom 3, and the middle of the pack, we don't really know. It's up in the air. So, without further ado, Brian, how are you, my friend?
Oh, my brother, I am well. How are you doing today? Super hot out.
Just another scorcher here. Humidity about 85% here in the city and the northeast part of the country. Real feel at least like 105. So it's great.
It's nice to drink your air in the morning.
Just sucking you up at like 80 degrees at
wonderful.
6 a.m. It's lovely, but we're staying cool inside. Hopefully everybody is staying cool and staying safe. Thanks again for tuning in. Again, we got a packed show. We're going to go a little over our hour today because there's so much we could really talk about. With the Premier League starting up tomorrow. So there's a lot to get into, a lot to cover. We'll kind of get into each team, what we kind of expect from them. Some teams, there's not much to say. Some teams really didn't make any moves. And you know kind of what they are. Like Burnley, kind of nothing. Kind of nothing going on there.
Adam calling his boy Sean out early before we even...
And my Premier League fantasy name is Dyche Baby, so you feel like I'd have his back. But, it's going to be tough. Some of those teams have kind of stayed put in the transfer window, just hoping and praying that they can stay up. Like we were saying, we know people that are going to be flirting with relegation, and we know the teams that are most likely going to be in that top 6-7 range. Just fighting it out for the title. And we'll see later in the show where we have each team ranked 1 through 6. Is the Evil Empire going to win again? Perfect segue into our poll question. Do you think Man City will defend their Premier League crown? Agree or disagree? I'm
going to let everybody answer this throughout the show. And obviously, I think you, me, Lord Walker, pretty much will answer that as we get to that segment of the show. I'm not going to answer now because I don't want to give away my top 6. But that's why I made it the question. I figure that'll give everybody else the opportunity to kind of say if they'll agree, disagree. If anybody wants to take a crack at throwing us their top 6, throw them up in the chat. We'd love to see it. We got a couple of our buddies as well that sent us theirs, so we'll divulge those when we get to that portion. But that's it. All I'm going to say right now is, for those of you who know or don't know, I don't think it's going to be a super easy task.
No, it's. Again, I think a lot of the Liverpool fans, just like we've witnessed in our soccer group chat, that they feel like they're going to be king in the castle once again because they have their man back there controlling the center defense of the team. So, but they got to reclaim that title. They're not the cash cow anymore. They're walking around high and mighty, feeling like this is 2 years ago, and it's a different league. I feel like there's still room to be made for them from last year to. And Van Dijk, those bad injuries. it takes at least a season after that to get right back to where you were 100%. So we'll see how that shakes out as well. I'm sure we have pretty similar top fours. The Cities, the Chelseas, the Liverpools, and probably like Man U up there. Leicester, I'm sure we have creeping around. And Arsenal probably sitting high and mighty, maybe 5-6 per usual, and they'll just be happy enough to get to that spot.
We shall see. We shall see.
Yes, but again,
welcome everybody. Welcome.
Yes, before
Dan,
we go on,
Dan, Daly, Joey, what's good? Eric, Sullivan.
Hashtag it.
Sullivan, great. That's another thing. Didn't make it into the criteria because I wrote the criteria yesterday, but it is official. Team USA ranks out at number 10 in the world right now. The only reason that's important is we're not saying if, when we qualify for World Cup in 2022, the higher rank we are will help with seeding and help possibly keep us as not necessarily in a group of death. Kind of keeps us as one of the two top teams in a group as opposed to one of the bottom two teams in a group. So that could be important. But
yeah, it's a big talking point. Obviously, first time ranked in the top 10 since 2006, I believe I saw. So
we'll discuss more on that as September rolls around and we have those first couple games come up. That's Absolutely. When that'll be important. So, but yeah, good recognition.
Eddie said EPL is unpredictable. Anything can happen. And for the poll, as a Chelsea fan, we will win the title.
No surprise.
I think a lot of Chelsea fans kind of figuring that since, they're just winning trophies left and right and that maybe, this will, continue to win that Premier League title. Who knows?
Yeah, congratulations on that trophy, by the way, beating Villarreal in PKs. Pulisic coming up big late in PKs.
Gotta love it. And Mr. PK himself, Kepa Arrizabalaga, is seems like he's a PK specialist out there.
That's why Eddie wants to keep him around. He knows that, but I don't think he's taking Mendy's job otherwise. But
no, probably not. But hey, you know what? Trophy's a trophy. They're officially the best team in the world right now for the time being.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Congrats. Lord Walker says, agreed to the poll. It's a season of revenge. I'm guessing he's thinking Liverpool probably is. His boys are coming back strong, full squad, new members. They feel like they're going to win it this year again. We'll see. Again, you don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he's agreeing to the poll. I think he's agreeing with...
He's agreeing to Eric saying, yes, redemption.
yeah. And please make sure you email him the link because for some reason I still can't send it because my Facebook jail issues for another 8-9 days, whatever's left. I don't know.
Will do. But yes, Eric, good point. That was another part of today. For all the people that are tuning in from the Philly region and really love for the Union and the MLS, you got some love there. We got a big game tonight on the road. Champions League of CONCACAF semifinals. Leg 1 tonight, 10 o'clock, the FS1 against the Mexican powerhouse Club America at the Azteca. So,
this is a must-watch, guys. Stay up. It's well worth the watch. These teams are really good, both of them. I will be pulling for the Union 100% in this one because you got to pull for the American clubs in these Champions Leagues. It has been quite some time. Under the Champions League format, this new format, which started in 2008, no North American side has won. The last North American side to win this tournament prior to it being considered Champions League was in the year 2000 in the Galaxy. So it's so long overdue. I think the Union has a good opportunity. I watched the game last night, the 1-0 win by Monterrey. They're a good team. They opened up their first leg. So this is a first leg. They're on the road. Super hostile environment going into this stadium in Mexico. Was the Stadium Azteca, I believe.
Yep.
So it's not going to be an easy task. I hope they get out of there with the result. I made that the YouTube poll question. Can they get a result tonight? I think that's all you got to go for. 0-0, 1-1, whatever it is, at least get out of there with something. Get a road goal. That would be beautiful. And then bring it back home a month from now, which is crazy. They have a month layoff between the two games. It'll be in September. And as long as this game remains competitive, I think we agreed we're getting our ass to that stadium for the second leg. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it. If it's I'm kind of predicting it'll be like 1-1, and we'll take that any day of the week and take a draw back to
a draw with a road
energy.
goal.
Oh yeah, I mean,
if they matter, I don't
pretty.
even know.
I think that would be almost a win for the Union to get a draw in that situation because again. The way that it seemed like at Monterrey watching, I think Mexico has at least maybe half capacity. It's not going to be full at the Azteca, thank God. So you're not going to get that full energy, but still, playing there is historically always been pretty tough. So, again, good luck to the Union, and we're duping it for you all the way here back in the States. So, good luck to them. Fuck you, Dan. Talk to me when your team's not in last place.
Yeah. Sullivan said NYCFC upsetting. I watched that game last night. I'm not a fan of them, Sullivan. I guess I'm a Red Bull fan. I'm a Red Bull fan. But yeah, they got knocked out of the League Cup last night, and Orlando plays tonight as well. So you can actually catch the Orlando game first at 7, and then that game later if you would like. So really,
exactly. Kieran said Man United would seriously challenge with a good manager and coaches.
Well, they just re-upped their manager.
The board must have a lot of faith in Ole.
Yeah, and they're apparently having some discussion with Pogba, which I guess that's a good thing for them. I stayed away from Pogba in fantasy strictly because it would suck to use a top first or second round, third round pick on a guy, and then a week from now he's playing over in Spain or he's playing over in Italy, or over in France or whatever. Like that's not a good thing for your chances of winning a fantasy league. So there were certain guys I stayed away from that still possibly have ties to being transferred out of the EPL because they don't do you any good if they're not still in the EPL.
It's I just again I don't want to get too much into our predictions of where each team's going to really fall, but just because you get Jadon Sancho doesn't mean you're going to contend for a title. I'm sorry.
No, but there's other factors there.
And Varane, good for him.
Yeah.
We'll see. Again, it's we'll talk a little bit more about that whole thing and give you the real full take. But what's up, Tommy? How you doing? Greggy?
What's up, brother? Tommy agrees to the poll.
Greg disagrees because it is tough to repeat. I did take that into factor when trying to figure out who do I think would actually win this thing again? Because it is. It's really hard to go back-to-back in this league.
It is.
But I feel like Man City, again, not really giving away anything, but Man City has a great chance because they really didn't lose anybody. They just added added Jack Grealish.
And there's another potential ad still waiting in the wings that if that happens, that could change a lot of things. So the fact that we have the season starts tomorrow, we have to do it today. But the hard part is that, like we've talked about, this transfer window is open for a month into the beginning of the season. Right. So what looks like something today, a month from now, may look completely different depending on what happens in that window. So we're going to do our best based off of preseason. Obviously, I know you and I in the past have, a month or so in, made some adjustments based off of what we've seen to start the year. So. Yeah,
again, and kind of a big deal that just dropped that's actually going to could change my thought that Lukaku signing is pretty much official. Coming back to Chelsea, which is
he's back in
blue.
blue.
A great sign, man. That's That definitely might take into consideration rethinking maybe the shift in power. So what does that mean for Timo Werner? Probably not very good things. But again, I guess we'll see how this season shakes out. Before we go on, do you want to do the Manscaped read for our lovely people?
Oh, yes. Let's get to our sponsors before we go any further. We have our newest of all sponsors, Manscaped. And like we've said before, with the Premier League season starting, MLS is up and running. Summer is kind of reaching its end, but we're still rocking and rolling. All this stuff is awesome to go to again and get back into these stadiums, and it's a good time. But we know what isn't a good time, and that is a wild, hairy bush. So tame your pubes with help from our friends at Manscaped, the leaders in the below-the-waist grooming. Their 4th-generation performance package includes a brand-new Lawnmower 4.0. So if an athlete treats their body like royalty, why not treat your pubes like, Champions League trophies? So, fellas, do right by your balls and join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by joining Manscaped.com and use code A2D because you will get 20% off and the free shipping. You can order the brand new Lawnmower 4.0. It takes the podium. The 4th-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade with reduced grooming accidents and their advanced skin-safe technology. So, it's plain and simple. 20% off, free shipping. Easy. A2D. You already know the name. This reminds me, subscribe. Right? Hit that damn like. Hit that damn subscribe. It's not hard. You're sitting there, watch. Yeah, get a membership. $10 is nothing. 14 Canadian if you're Dan over there. Buck up. I see he's not green yet, so he still hasn't bucked up, but that's all right. You get show appearances, member-only stream shout-outs, weekly sports picks on the Money Pot podcast, which we should send him over some stuff going into this weekend.
That's true.
On the Prem. I would absolutely stay away from tomorrow. I'm not touching tomorrow. You know that. So, but we have a nice weekend lineup actually ahead of us, and we will discuss more of that too when we get into the preview part of the show. So,
absolutely.
Look, even Sullivan back in the product, Manscaped. That shit turns real nice. Sullivan knows it. And welcome back, Sullivan. We gotta talk some more. He's been out of the loop for a while, but he did make it back to our fantasy league that drafted last night, and he's back in the mix, so we're happy to have him back. And then, again, our show sponsor, number one in South Jersey, but should be number one no matter where he's at, and that's specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Cherry Hill, Burlington, or online. Do your thing. Make the good doctor yours. He is ours.
Number one in our hearts.
And last but not least, when you don't have time to get to the doc, but you need a little bit of self-care at home, the good boys of Body Check Wellness will take care of you. Get all your hemp products. Use code A2D for 25% off. All the topicals, gummies, all that good stuff.
All the fun stuff. Hemp is the new wave.
You got to take care of yourself. Hemp's always been the wave, brother.
True.
We're just
new. Some people are new. Some people, it's actually okay to be like, okay, yeah, I'm taking some hemp, and that's not looked upon as like, oh my god.
Man, hit this super berry.
There you go.
Give them.
He's already given some plugs. We need some. we
need more sponsors. We need more sponsors. So this one's really good. This company's good.
Gotta love it. All right, where are we gonna go? What am I doing? I'm brain farting. So I guess as well, we'll probably Lord Walker is going to join us here probably 2:30ish to discuss the Prem table. We'll try and come up with who we think will finish in the top 4, top 6, and the all-important bottom 3. Who's going to get relegated? Who's not lasting this season? Our new boys this year, we got Watford back, we got Norwich back, and new boys. We got Brentford, the Bees, finally conquered it, got through to a final, and finally are up in the Prem.
First time in the top flight since World War II, and first trip to the Premier League. So,
it's a big deal.
congratulations! It is a big deal, and honestly, I really am going to say it again. Arsenal, do not overlook this team and just walk in, because it's in Brentford tomorrow too. It's on the road.
Up.
First game of their premiership. That team's going to be ready to go. So you guys got to come in ready to go. I'm very intrigued on that one. And unfortunately, I will not be joining that group tomorrow due to some new rules in the city of Philadelphia and some differences that people may have of opinion on things. So I will be watching from the comfort of my own home, but that's okay. Those guys are great, and I wish them to have a good time, and hopefully soon.
I said I walked past misconduct today.
Yeah.
It's
Philly has implemented some new stuff yesterday, so they have opted to put certain things in place.
True that. Before Lord Walker comes on, I just want to say thanks to everybody who joined us for our second annual Premier League fantasy draft.
Yes.
Last night. Appreciate everybody. Eric, Julio, my dad, my brother, obviously Sullivan for joining us again this year. We got Mikey Caprero, Les, Merrick, and his brother.
Yeah, Pete jumping in this year.
That's good find. Good find all around.
Yeah.
And Mr. Eric Jacinto, of course, can't forget about our good friend Eric. But yeah, thanks everybody again, and it's going to be a good season. Let's hope we'll see if my dad can repeat as back-to-back champs, or will someone else claim the throne?
Well, he showed up last minute. I'm calling him out. I'm calling him to the table. He showed up last minute and then steals my sleeper.
That's that.
Like 5 picks before I was going to take him.
Total dick move.
That's what champions do, though. I love them. I appreciate it. That was solid.
Total dick move. I know.
No, that was great. It's going to be a good season. Sullivan really wanted me to break down everybody's team and do a power ranking. I couldn't. I did look at his team. His team's solid. He showed up late with the first pick. Obviously got auto-picked Harry Kane, which most people might have picked with the first pick anyway.
Yeah.
The rest of his team is good. Few question marks in the middle with some injuries. I thought he went super early on Sargent, another one that he stole from me. I was really going to just go one striker and then try and grab Tony and Sargent and try and roll the dice there a little bit. And or Che, which you stole from me.
I did. But had to do it.
Yeah, it was a good time. Second annual draft, so it's a 12-man league. We'll keep you guys up to date through the season as some matchups happen and who's making progress. And we're going to come up with that kit by the time this season's over. So,
yes, but my dad does get a special prize of Julie Ertz figurine. Right there.
It's right here waiting for him.
That's a pretty good collector's item.
I got to get it out to him. We got to come up with a little something more for him. But,
I know.
Well, when the kits come out, he'll get a kit too, retroactive. But this is definitely part of it. And this is thanks to Steve at A2D, who sent me this way back about the beginning of the season last year. So that's going out to your pops.
The Julie Ertz action figure. Gotta love that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We'll discuss some Golden Boot and Golden Gloves. I mean, we kind of know who's going to be up there for both.
Eric wants a 4-hour show today.
He wants awards.
He wants
He wants the team of the year. I know it's a lot to cover in an hour and a half.
Transfer of the year.
I mean, the Golden Glove isn't always like the best player. It's always the guy that faces the most shots, and assuming probably Nick Pope's going to be up on that because Burnley is going to be just getting pelted, probably most likely. Dan, I'm not even going to read your top 6 and bottom 3, and that's just ridiculous. I know you're a Prem hater, so that's fine. It's okay. Not everyone has to like the best league in the world.
Well, I know there were some recent transfers. We talked about the big one. One that I know we didn't discuss was it looks like your Union's getting another striker too, a young striker. It's kid Davo.
Yeah, Matthias Davo.
Yeah, so that's a nice. They picked him up basically yesterday from Corinthians.
Yeah, and we already got a midfielder, Junior Bueno.
Yeah, Paxton. We never got a chance to recognize Paxton for his first goal the other day. So 17 years old, getting his first goal in the MLS. Looks to be clearly at least close to as good prospecting as his brother did, or like some have said, possibly better. So
sheesh, that goal.
With them guys and a young Caden Clark, like, dude, we're just those.
It's just a wave of just like.
These were all guys that names weren't even like mentioned when we did the 40-man USA and the depth of this USA team. So these are all they're like 16, 17 years old. I know.
You can't even think of it.
Can't even, yeah. But it's good to know that they're there, and we just hope that development keeps growing.
God, I hope so.
Yeah. Hey, like we said, they keep moving to Busio, getting over to Europe at 18 already. Like these guys getting over there younger is going to pay dividends.
Oh, yeah, Joey, I do have a red card to start the show. The stupid talking heads that think Timo Werner should be starting over Christian Pulisic.
Man, Lord Walker hit us with that. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
How stupid is that?
Especially in that formation. If you're going to run those three up top like Chelsea has been doing, and you now have Lukaku in there, you have to go Pulisic, and you have to go Ziyech.
You have to. That's the thing right there. No
Done. That's it. No questions. With Mason Mount in the middle. Or Kai and Mount in the middle. You got three in the middle right there that you can use. You still have Conte.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, you guys man, if I was too old, you got toys, and then you run Tammy off the bench, or like you said, sell him to Arsenal.
Tammy's out.
We'll take him. We got to get rid of Oba first. Clear up that money.
Hey, congrats to Jorginho and Emerson. Just keep winning titles, boys.
Yeah, Jorginho,
a hell of a summer.
He put his PK in. I was tempted to draft him again in fantasy. I really wanted him back on the team.
Euros, Super Cup.
Yeah, man.
It's a hell of a season.
Yeah, Jorginho's the man. I have to say.
Eddie says dark horse Leeds, Villa, and Brentford. Wow. I've seen some love from Brentford. I just don't see... We've seen this song and dance before, these teams that are fairly new. Just having trouble keeping the ball out of the net and keeping the ball in the net on offense.
Yeah. And Brentford has two legit guys, and Tony is a monster.
They had a great season.
Tony's solid, but we've seen these guys, too, do that, and then they come up here, and it's not quite the same. But hey, again, well, somebody's got to step up and play these games and win these games. And we have some teams that have survived that didn't make some big adjustments, or maybe even got worse in the off season. So who knows? Maybe a Brentford is a team that holds on and finds a way to get that 15th, 16th spot and stay up.
It's just going to be very tough.
Yeah,
maybe
it's not easy.
Maybe Norwich has learned its lesson from last time around, and maybe Daniel Farker will make some adjustments.
Well, they lost one big piece in Buendia.
Buendia was a big loss for sure.
But I think the addition of Sargent could pay dividends if they can get him, Pookie, and Cantwell all on the pitch at the same time.
We'll see. I don't know how he's going to implement Josh Sargent in their team. I mean, they did get Rashid's got two as well, so we'll see. Again, I want Norwich to stay up. I really do. I think it's just going to be the same old problems with them. They didn't really do anything. Their roster isn't exactly, blowing you away.
No, it's going to be a tough go for them. It's going to be a tough go for all three new teams. We know that. We could talk about what Watford did too, of a whole lot of nothing. Adding Josh King to that carousel of old strikers that haven't done anything. Like, yeah.
Again, a team that you kind of know what you got.
Yeah.
The ageless wonder, Troy Deeney's still there.
Yeah.
Wow. Southampton, really? Coming at my boy Ralph?
Yeah. I saw that. I was surprised, and that's the thing. They lost some. They didn't lose a ton. They lost Danny Ings. Sure, that's a big thing. Danny Ings going to Villa. We didn't even talk about that. Show favored Danny Ings. Did finally move out of Southampton. That kind of flew under our radar when we were talking about transfers.
I totally forgot about that.
But he did move on to Villa. But they still have Che Adams. They still have James Ward-Prowse. They still have a very good defense. Investigard and Bednarik.
Yep.
Kyle Walker-Peters, I think, is going to have a good year this year. That's why I drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would. And the coach, like you said, Ralphie. You can't count Ralphie out.
They just kind of shit the bed towards the end of last season.
Yeah, there was a point where they were a third through the season. They were top 6 team. So
then they started giving like 6 goals a game up.
And then they finished in like 13th or wherever they finished. But we know that, but I don't think they're out the door.
Nah.
I would see again. I'm not going to give away my picks yet, but there's a few other teams that made it through that may have some trouble.
It's fair. All right, we'll bring on the man, the myth, the legend, Lord Walker, waiting in the wings to discuss our Premier League fantasy, our top 6s and our bottom 3. Eric also sent me his top 6. So we'll see what he's got in store. It's again, I already know where he's going with his champions. He's already stated that. But yeah. Mr. Lord Walker, sir, what's going on?
Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Wonderful. You?
Good.
Lovely.
Good. Yeah. It's the monsoons are coming back to Arizona, so it should be interesting. But yeah, good. Really good.
Good.
Yeah, it's the U.S. is falling apart, weather-wise.
Definitely.
Not just weather.
Hey. Come on.
But yeah. Our soccer team's good, though. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, let's go.
We'll take
down with that.
Yeah, we love to see it. Again, if there was more time to talk about that whole thing, that's another topic for another day, the men's national team getting the top 10. But the real reason we're all here is because we have fantasy league football, or fantasy league. We have Premier League football starting up tomorrow. We have Brentford and Arsenal kicking us off. New boys, Brentford.
For some of us, it's a fantasy. It's a fantasy.
Yes. Yes. Talking about and going through the draft last night has fantasy in my head, unfortunately. Yeah. The Lord speaks. Amen. But yeah. So why don't we kick it off with you, man? I want to hear you go through. Do you want to start with maybe the bottom 3 first, and then we'll work our way up?
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it.
So the bottom 3 of the top 6, or the relegation 3?
The relegation bottom 3. Who's going down?
Oh wow, we're going straight to the.
We're going straight to it. We're cutting deep right into it.
They didn't even get to hang out for the party. They just get
no time.
Be like, yep, get out. You don't make the cut.
Somebody might have got to hang out for the. We'll see who gets to hang out for the.
Okay.
Party.
Well, all right. Well, then let's start it off like that. Then relegation bound. I have Southampton, Watford, and Brentford. Those are my 3.
Okay.
Right off the bat. And just rip the Band-Aid off. So
you're another one that thinks Southampton's probably going down.
I do. I think that they were lucky to stay up last year. I think that even the year before that, they started to show a little bit of cracks and a little bit of water coming into the boat type deal. So I really think that this year is going to see them find themselves looking at Championship League. And
yeah, Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, I know they didn't really respond well to Ralph for some reason towards the end of last year. For I don't even know why, but I don't know. I feel like they're just too good of a roster to let that even happen.
Right, right. And I get that. I get that. But there's always one of those teams that you feel, oh, they're going to do well, or oh, because of their performance last year, especially when you deal with these mid to lower level teams in the Prem that just for some reason, a couple losses here and there come in, and then all of a sudden it starts creeping, and then you doubt starts to creep in, and all of a sudden, yeah, you're battling against your Newcastles or or whoever else is going to be at the bottom of the list. So and I agree. It's difficult to put Southampton there because of how well they've done before, but I think they're going to find themselves really looking at the from the bottom up this year.
I think it'll be tough. They're definitely going to be flirting with that, bottom probably 6. But I don't know. It's hard for me to say, and I don't want Ralph to go down. It's just not in the cards.
Then Adam can't do his Hassenhüttl.
I know. Well, if they do that bad, he's not going to last the whole season. I'm sure. Like if they're like in the bottom 3 by say Christmas, I would find it hard to believe that they're going to keep him around much longer, especially because dating back to last season, they didn't have a very strong finish. So I don't know how long their board is going to keep him around, especially if they're in the bottom 3 by that time.
Now Eddie did say they did end up, it looks like, I guess it must have been today, selling Vestergaard to Leicester, because as of now, I was going to say, as of now, he's still showing on their roster.
No, they made that acquisition.
With him going and Ings going, it doesn't totally change my opinion I still think that they can hang on and do just enough. I like Walker-Peters. I like Bednarek. I don't know. Goalkeeping is a question. Alex McCarthy has a lot to be desired, but I guess there's worse goalkeepers out there. Che Adams can put the ball in the net. I don't know. Janipo, we'll see with him. We'll see what Ward-Prowse's health is like.
Stewie Armstrong, don't forget.
Yeah, Stewie Armstrong, the ageless Nate Redmond, who always finds a way to get his 6-7 goals in prime fashion every year in games where they really need him to come through and do enough to keep that club afloat. And I think Ralph's a good enough coach where I personally, they will not make my bottom 3.
Okay.
No.
Well, what is your bottom 3, or either of your bottom 3s?
Yeah, we can go on to the next and then see as we keep adding each other's who's.
Yeah,
I know some are going to tie in.
Yeah, I'd like to see who we have in the same for our bottom 3.
Adam, you want to do the honors? You want me to go?
Yeah, I was obviously Brentford. I think is going to probably finish last or second last. I would assume. I just don't think we've seen this. I said before, the song and dance with, especially a first timer since World War II or whatever, that they're up or something crazy like that. It's been a long time. Yes, they have Tony. Yes, they've been, they had great seasons the past like 3 or 4 championship seasons that they were right there. They just came up a bit short in the final every year. But I just don't think they'll have enough. More defensively than offensively. Then I think Burnley, unfortunately, Sean Dyche, I think they're going to be facing some staring up at everybody. They did not make any acquisitions. I think Chris Wood, if he can stay healthy, he's what they have, nothing special. And then I was tackling who's going to fight for that last one. I saw a lot of people saying Brighton, this is their year to go down finally because they're always flirting with that in that 16 range, and they keep staying up. And I want to keep saying that this is their year, but I think they're going to do the same thing. I think they're just going to flirt with it, and they're going to get some draws towards the end of the season and just be able to stay up. Unfortunately, I think that Norwich, it pains me to say, but I think the Canaries, again, are going to go one and done. Yes, they brought in Josh Sargent. Yes, they have, Todd Cantwell. Yes, and Pookie. And they got Milo Rashica, again, from Werder Bremen, who's a great young player. But, again, besides that, their lineup really doesn't scare me. So the Canaries are going to be going back down with Brentford and Burnley.
Okay.
Is my 3.
So I'm kind of on the fence between one team, but I'm definitely leaning now towards Brentford being on my list as well, just because it seems to be the consensus with most everybody. Again, I know Eddie likes them. I like the fact that they can score goals, but you can score goals in this league and still not win games and get points and do enough to advance. You could lose a lot of games 3-4 and have a tough time stopping people. And looking at their defense and their goalkeeping, there's definitely some major unknowns there. So I would say Brentford makes my list. Watford makes my list. Watford is, to me, just that Watford still has not fixed their nickname from when the show first started of shit. I mean, that's at one point Watford hadn't. They were the worst. They were the only team in the 5 major leagues of European soccer to not have a win like 2 months into the season.
Oh yeah,
literally, every team in all 5 leagues had at least one win except for Watford at one point. The last time they were in the Premier League. Of course, they held on to everybody when they went down to the Championship, so they were running out basically the same guys that they were playing in the Prem with, so they did enough to get back. But they, again, then didn't do anything. Like, they added Josh King. Like, they do have this one young defender who's supposed to be pretty good. But other than that, I mean, I just don't see Watford doing enough to stay up. And then I'm torn again, but I have to go Burnley with Adam, and they're another one of those teams. I just like, what did they do? What did they do to get better? How long can what we always joke around with good coaching from Sean Dyche, the Ginger Moreno? Like, how long can that just keep a team afloat? We saw it with some of these other teams. We saw it even with Bournemouth and Eddie Howe. It happened for a while, and then sooner or later, you just talent takes over, and it just you can't keep winning games that way, and you can't get enough points to stay up. So I'm going to come out with a couple teams that have been here already and throw Burnley into the mix of a team that could go bye-bye.
So our consensus is Burnley, right? Or Brentford, right? Brentford,
definitely.
Brentford's on all 3 of ours, is it? Or
yeah,
I believe, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And then where we all start to differ is the other 2. I just always think that there's always going to be one team that you thought, oh, they're definitely mid-table. Oh, they're definitely going to be mid-table, and they end up falling into that relegation. There's always 2 teams that you're like, they're going to go. Everyone has them picked, and they end up going. There's always that 3rd team where you're like, oh, I didn't expect that. Oh, they just had a bum season, or maybe they had injuries that plagued their season, or something along those lines, or internal problems, and they find themselves into that relegation fight. So that's why I have Southampton, because Southampton should be a middle of the pack team, but I really think that they're gonna shit the bed, as they say.
Yeah, it's very possible. We've seen it 2 years ago when Adam and I first started doing this show. Southampton was one of those teams that we were for sure this was going to be their last hit. And then they found a way. Danny Ings kind of pulled him out of the,
again, he's not there anymore.
And yeah, exactly. And he's not there anymore.
I mean,
I do like Che, but he's a different beast.
He's a different beast. And
Brighton was another one that I looked at, and I couldn't quite pull the trigger on him yet. I feel like they have still just enough. They have enough veteran leadership with some of these guys in Pascal Gross and Lallana and Lewis Dunk.
Hey.
I mean, they really only lost Ben White.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
was the only
and they
loss.
did, and I'm happy about
Exactly.
it. I'm thrilled by that, but that was
They have
really
a good
it.
team. No,
That
they have
was
a
their
good
own-
team.
Yeah.
Brighton has a good team. I'm
Except-
I'm not going
And I
to.
like Graham
diss
Potter. I
them.
think he's a decent manager.
Yes, and I think he's a good manager. I mean, like if anyone, the sneaker that I thought might be in that bottom three would possibly be Burnley, because I just think Burnley just does not really have what it takes to stay in the Premier League. But there's only 3 to go down, so I think that they'll be hovering right around above that little,
Yeah,
Oh,
I
Burnley
agree.
being Burnley.
I think Southampton's definitely going to be flirting with that relegation line for sure. I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, all these teams we talk about, they're all going to be fighting each other.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, again, who's going to be there. Watford's probably going to fight. Brighton, is going to be just barely treading water, and I would probably say Southampton. Absolutely, I'm sure that it's just losing Danny Ings, because that was their savior, like you said.
Exactly.
He saved them that season, and when he's gone, and now they're sending off Vestergaard, it's just like
Exactly.
that's a lot of.
It's a lot to take out.
It's a lot of weight on Che Adams to put the ball in the net.
It is, and again, with not to bag on Southampton, but I mean, you're right. You take away one of your best defensive defenders, then you take off probably 70% of your offense at least through Ings, and now all of a sudden say, oh, now we're going to go out there and we're going to win. Okay, I think there was more of like they knew what was coming, and they knew they had to get some money in the coffers before they go down to the Champions League. So we'll see.
Do either of you guys see, like, is there one team that you would consider like a mid-table squad that, barring some crazy stuff and a few injuries or anything like that, could really have their backs up against the wall and possibly fall into that group as well?
Crystal Palace.
Wow, yeah, that's a great call.
That was actually the team I was thinking of.
I almost had them going down because, again, I don't think. Yes, they had Mateta. They got from, I think, Mainz in the German Bundesliga, who's a good young player. They still have Ayew, Benteke, but
no faith in Patrick Vieira, huh?
I think he tore his Achilles or something like that. And again, I have zero faith in Patrick Vieira. I'm sorry, I just don't. As a manager, no. As a player, fantastic.
I know.
But as we know, great players aren't exactly always great managers.
Especially great Arsenal players don't seem to be great managers.
I don't know. We've talked about Palace for the last 2 years doing this show, that their time is running thin, I think, for staying up here.
Them and Newcastle were the two teams I was eyeballing when I posed that question.
I agree.
True.
Newcastle would be probably a close contender, probably my top contender to find themselves looking at relegation. Since last year, they were almost looking at it as well. It's just that the teams below them were just doing their best that much worse, and doing their best to hold them up. I didn't think we were going to go into it too quickly because I didn't want to, but. Yeah, maybe even a team that wears red and that lives in London might be finding themselves close to it as well if they don't put it together this year.
Whoa!
I don't want to talk.
There was a famous coach who said that same thing and ate his words like 5-0 the following week. So it's all right. It's all right.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's one thing to be 8th, 9th, and be out of Europe and be struggling, but to be in that bottom relegation talk is just ludicrous.
It's hard. It's really hard to find.
I honestly, if there was one other team left out of that grouping, I would say maybe Wolves with new coaching.
Yes, I agree.
And some possible moving parts there as well. I don't know. They'll probably do enough, but you never know with a team with a new coach. So, fun fact: since promoted, Brighton 1-9.
Yeah, I put a fun fact in there. I put the question before to you guys in the chat, but I was saying, can anyone name the fastest player in the Prem? Actually, it's pretty interesting too. Who the actual person is? He is not. And that's why it's pretty interesting. He is second. How about that? I'll give you that. He's the second.
So, because Brighton seems to be in the conversation, is it Troussard?
No, it's
I
not.
didn't think so. So who is it? Who is it? Let's give it away.
Kyle Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
No surprise.
That was a surprise to me, to tell you the truth. I did not think that Kyle Walker had that kind of speed, apparently.
He can move.
He can move.
It's always great, his recovery speed. It's like, yeah, they try and beat him around the outside. It's like, yeah, you're not beating Kyle Walker in a foot race. I'm sorry.
Apparently not. I didn't know that. I mean, I would have picked, if you said, put Kyle Walker versus Adama, I'd be like, I'll put my money on Adama all day. But yeah, apparently so. That was just interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess I could see that.
I'm sure Adama still wins whatever quickness challenge would be. If it's strictly quickness, but
if it's quickness,
speed,
right,
yeah.
He's the fastest player.
Wow, that's
interesting. I'm sure.
It's interesting, and could be a big reason why some people are picking them to be repeat champions this year.
It could be. It very well could be. I'm not in that party, but yes, it could be. But yeah, it could be. I think they have some interesting. If we're going to get into it now, since we're all done with the bottom three. Are we gonna go 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or are we gonna go 1?
Yeah, I think we all will say who we have in 6.
Before we go on, Eric wanted me to tell us on air his bottom 3.
Oh yes.
So Eric has Watford last.
Okay.
Dead last.
He has Brighton going down, and then Burnley.
Okay.
Wow, so he has all 3 new boys staying up.
Wow. That's a good. Those are some good picks.
It's not. I guess it's not a ludicrous. Like we said, there's all those teams should somewhat be in the conversation,
right?
For different reasons.
It was a fight between Norwich and Watford for me. They're both kind of in that same. Where are you getting your? If Pookie's not scoring for Norwich, where are you getting your scoring from?
Well, my love for Troy Deeney was outweighed.
Who's scoring for them?
My love for Troy Deeney was outweighed by my love for Timo Pukki and my want to have Josh Sargent continue to play in the Premier League. So I stuck with rooting for Norwich through this.
That's honestly that is the prime reason why I'm rooting for Norwich this year. If they did not have an American player, my opinion or my rooting interest would be different. But
I probably would have relegated them if they didn't add Josh Sargent. I'm not even a huge Josh Sargent fan, but just the fact that it's another guy to watch, another American, another guy that, I could be a Josh Sargent fan if he really excels in the Prem and earns that striker spot. I'm all for being a Josh Sargent fan. So
We as a U.S. men's national team fan, we want to root for him to succeed.
Yeah.
Because that's only benefiting us.
Right.
But yes, sorry, Eric wanted me to get that out of the way before we move on to the top 6. So what'd you say before? I'm sorry. You want us 6, 5, 4?
Yeah, we'll all give our 6, and then we'll discuss why. And we got time.
Gotcha.
Got the extra half hour today. We can roll. So.
Which is needed. I mean, look.
We'd be up 5.
We'd be up against it right now if we weren't. We're not even into the top 6.
It's impossible to talk a Prem for a half hour.
One of the first shows Adam and I ever did, we recorded in a studio, and with edits, it was a Premier League preview from 2 seasons ago? 3?
Yeah, the preview for 2 seasons ago.
2 seasons ago, and it was a good 2.5, almost 3 hours.
Exactly.
And that was that was the first show him and I ever did together.
It was not really.
We broke down every team. Yeah, we went through every team.
Oh wow, you went through every team.
Pretty much. Yeah, at least touched a couple players on every team, every transfer they made. Oh yeah, we just.
Yeah,
that was our introduction to Kickin Stateside. We didn't even have a name yet. I don't think we weren't even. Anything.
I don't think so either.
Hey,
that's
awesome. That shows dedication. That shows dedication and love right there. I like it.
I'm sure it's on my flash drive from.
I have it somewhere, definitely.
To look back in a few years and be like, "Wow, that was our first session compared to now." Lord Walker, why don't you start us off, man?
Okay. So we're gonna go 6-6-6 and 5-5-5, or we're gonna
We can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, we could. Yeah.
That way we can debate. At my sixth, my net number 6. I have Leeds United.
Whoa!
Yes, I'm coming in hot. Yes, Leeds United, I believe, is going to come in at my 6th spot, primarily because I really think Patrick Bamford is a beast. I really like the signing of Jack Harrison. And I think Junior Firpo, I believe, is going to be a really good signing as well.
Good player.
Calvin Phillips, who showed for England that he's a quality player. I really like the fact that they are, I wouldn't say they remind me of Liverpool, but under the pretense that they have that just hit them hard, hit them in the mouth, just keep hitting them until they go down type of mentality when it comes to their offense. And I really think that that's something that it's exciting. It's an exciting form of soccer. I like to see it, and I think that it's going to create some dividends for them this year, and see them be in top 6.
Love it, Leeds. That is coming in pretty hot. I like it. And again, they played great last year. They're exciting to watch as like a neutral, having zero rooting interest for Leeds, but they're a cool team. And I like Jack Harrison. I'm glad that they inked him up. And Junior Firpo, good signing. Defense is pretty much the same. Goalie the same. So, it's solid, but I like it.
I would I probably personally would have him in like that 7 to 10 range, only because I have to do what I have to do for the 6th pick. Yeah. But I like the team a lot. I like Rafinha up top. I don't think he got a full opportunity to shine last year. I think he'll adjust a little bit more this year with Bamford. They added Ian Ocampo too, a good young forward that could help them out possibly. Yes. Matthias Klitsch is a good midfielder veteran, the Polish international. So, and like you guys said, Firpo will help that defense. I think Llorente hasn't got a chance to really get his opportunity yet since joining them last year either. He's had some knocks. So the goalkeepers, again, Adam said it. It's Messler. They're very young at goalkeeper, 21 and 20-year-old. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. They just, we'll see if they maybe add a veteran as well. But they are a solid team. I could easily see them taking a 6th spot. But to segue into mine, my 6th spot, I can't as a legit, to try to make myself as a legit person in this industry. I can't obviously take Arsenal and put them as a top 4 team, because that's just ludicrous. I'm not that big of a fanboy, a homebody, homer. But I feel like they've done enough in the offseason of what I asked. I feel like there's still a little bit more to come. We shall see. We have that month left. I'm putting my Gunners at 6. The European vacation is over. We need to get back. So
starts tomorrow.
Yeah, so that's why I went with that name today. We've been on that European vacation, just not in Europe. We went everywhere else. So we need to get back there. So I'm putting Arsenal in 6th. Adam?
I'm going to follow suit and say Arsenal will come in 6th. Making Ben White signing will not get you into the top 4. It's going to help, but I think per Arsenal, they're going to finish probably in that 5-6 range. So I think that's a fair assessment on Arsenal being in that 5, 6, 7. It'd be unfair to say if they finished outside of that, because I think they're better than, say, a Leeds or who else is fighting? Maybe Everton or something like that.
Just that 7 to 10.
Yeah.
Grouping. So, well, thank you. I hope.
Sure, man,
I hope that's good, Juju.
Who knows? Just maybe it's just the London love. I don't know. Feeling London love.
Yes.
All right. So why don't you continue on then, Adam, and you start off and give us your 5th.
Yeah, before we go on, Eddie had an interesting comment, kind of sidebar. He said, "Who do you think the first manager will be to be sacked?"
Ooh.
And I answered that in the group chat there. I think
track record would tell me Watford because they have like 5 managers in the last like 2 years. So
that's a good call.
Or Ralph, unfortunately, Ralph Hasenhutel.
Yes.
I'm telling you, he's going to be that hot seat. Or Daniel Faka is probably my top 3.
It could be Dyche.
That's true.
If we're all picking Burnley to be, sooner or later he's going to be held.
Sean Dyche could have the Eddie Howe situation happen where it's like, all right, well, they just gave up on the manager, and I'm sorry, we just have to move on.
Yeah. And then there's another one still in Newcastle, too, that if things start off a little slow again, it could be a short. I don't know. You have to at some point, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, that's a good question.
That is a very good question.
But yeah, sorry, good Lord. Or do you want me to go 5?
No, yeah, you go 5 since we'll kind of rotate it around.
A little snake style. So my 5 Europa League spot here will be the Leicester Foxes. I think they are obviously they added Vestergaard like we just found out today, kind of shore up that defense. You're getting Pereira finally healthy again, fully. You're getting Soyuncu, he's finally getting back. You love Casper back there, solid as hell. Obviously, that nasty injury too. I believe Fofana is going to be out for a long time with that nasty. I think he broke his leg. I think.
Yeah, I think that's probably
which was a horrible tackle.
Terrible.
A horrible tackle.
And for a friendly, that's ridiculous.
Exactly. For a friendly, it's absolutely just ridiculous. And
there should be some repercussions for that from FIFA or UEFA or whatever. But that's probably what sparked the Vestergaard move, I would say.
One thing I heard this in another forum too, but I've mentioned it myself in other places as well, and that is, and especially in a friendly, if something like that were to occur, maybe the player that if you knock a player out for 3 months or 2 months, that might be your band as well coming into whatever season you're going into, and. Yeah. I think that would make you a little bit less likely to be going full tilt at someone on a friendly. This isn't like this. This isn't you trying to like save your team from relegation or something. This is you going in a friendly.
Like when Sonny tried to kill Andre Gomez a week into the season or whatever that was.
Come on. Yeah, it's like, come on.
Very reckless.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Leicester. Again, Jamie's going to be Jamie, and then Iheanacho had a fantastic season last year. So
he did, and he's having a pretty good preseason too.
Right, and I guess it depends on what happens with James Maddison if they decide to move him or not.
Yeah.
I think they could go higher, but from seasons past, it's kind of like they're going to be fighting for that 4 through 6 probably. So we'll see.
Okay.
Lord Walker.
Oh, okay. It's not really.
Yeah, we'll mix it. It's not even snake. Yeah, we'll mix it all around.
That's like snake.
Well, I don't want to go second every. I don't want to go second every time.
All right.
I'll take first on the next on 4, whatever. Yeah.
Well, all right. I'll still come in hot as I was before, and I was going to say that Man U will be fighting again for the Europa Championship. I have them at 5.
Wow.
Yes.
I do. That's a Man U haterism right there.
I don't think it's a Man U haterism because you know why? It's again, this is why I'm going to say it's not a Man U haterism, and I'm not saying it because that my Man U is our rival or any of that stuff. I'm not saying at all.
I know.
I'm saying it because there's only so much room in the top 4. There's 4 teams, and if you look at the Premier League this year, there are easily 7 to 8 teams that could be in that top 4. And that's whether they have, and considering what happened to us last year, which could happen to any team, which through injuries, maybe players wanting to go and to other places, maybe players coming and not adjusting to live life in England. Those things are relevant. So I'm not hating on Man. I think Man U, and again, look, Man U, this is the reason why I put them there is because Man U, Varane is an amazing addition. Sancho, great addition. Do either of those players make you say, "Oh, write them off"? They're definitely going to win the league. No,
I said that. Nope.
And again, the biggest question mark, and I'm not an Ollie hater, actually. I'm not an Ollie out guy or anything. But I just don't look at Ollie and say he's a tactical genius. I don't. And that is something where that's the difference. That's the difference. And again, that's where it's going to come. I mean, he hasn't won them any silverware. And truthfully, I think their best option or their best chance of getting silverware would be to do what they did last year and make it to the Europa final and lose. But I mean, or maybe that was subliminal, but yeah. But
yeah, I think they would prefer if they had to go that route to at least win it. But
I love it though. I love it.
All right, so I was torn because as the more we started talking in the 6th spot about Leeds, I was almost tempted to jump them from like 7th to 5th. But I still like Leicester, I think, too much as well. I'm with Adam. They have that veteran core. Schmeichel in goal outweighs a lot of other goalies for me in this league. If this is true with the addition of Vestergaard now, with Fofana out, that helps the defense. I'm a big Vestergaard guy. I think he's a solid defender. And they have enough scoring, clearly. That team's solid. They'll probably hang out in the top 3 most of the season and then drop right down into that 5th spot.
They got.
Yeah. So
I mean, Tielemans, great midfielder. I mean, they're a good team, man.
Again, and I love Wilfred and Diddy. There's a lot about that team that I'm a fan of. I just feel like they just over the last 2 seasons they proved that they can hang with the big boys, but when it comes down to crunch time at the end of the year, they get small and they fall into those Europa spots. So instead of having them even considering to put them in the top 4. I'll keep them at 5. So, and then I will go
for
4. Oh man, somebody's gonna be butthurt with me.
Oh, I know who
on this panel, and it's actually gonna be the my co-host and the number 1 team in the world right now.
Wow.
Whoa, Chelsea 4. Wow.
And I have Chelsea finishing 4th.
That's Chelsea hate.
Romelu Lukaku, great addition. I think Kai Havertz is maybe a little more comfortable in who Kai Havertz is now.
He's a new Kai.
After the summer he's had and, towards the end of last season and all that, he's really come in. But they still have question marks. I think that defense was a little bit of an anomaly last year. Silva's a year older. Rudiger is, as Lord Walker would say, a dirty player. So that there's going to be a few games he's not going to be around for you. And then you got to throw Kurt Zuma in the mix. I know he stepped up, but I think Chelsea's just, and again, it's nothing against Chelsea. I think they're a great team. I think adding Lukaku was a better move than going after Harry Kane. Probably not than Erling Haaland, but it looks like, that's going a different direction right now for him in his career. I think they've had a lot of guys playing a lot of games. And we talked about with Jorginho. Jorginho's had a hell of a run. And a lot of these guys have had some really nice runs and played in some big competitions. And I think it may catch up to them because they're going to have a lot of competitions to play as well. And now people are going to have a little bit more on Tuchel in this league as well. So there's plenty of talent there. There's some guys on that team that have some injury issues as well, so that could hurt them. I don't think they fall out of that top 4 spot, but I see them finishing 4.
Okay.
Fair.
I'll go second, I guess.
Go for it.
And my 4th spot is going off of what Philly Sports Passion 85 just said too, as well. Leicester City. I have them pulling it in, and finally, look, you've been knocking on that door for 2 years now. Either it happens, especially with a lot of the talent that they have. I get that Fofana is a huge loss, but a lot of the talent they have, them bringing back some really good talent as well in to join the coffers of what they have coming in to the season. I think that this is their year. It's either make or break year type for them, and I think they really do all know it. And settling for 5th or 6th is not something that they can do again. And it's 4th or nothing. It's top 4 or nothing for this squad. And I think Brendan knows that too, because there's no way he can look at that squad and say, "Oh, well, once again, looks like we're on to Europa." No, it's either top 4 or nothing for this squad. So that's why I have them at the 4th spot.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, they've been so close and they just shit the bed at the end of the season. But yeah, it's a good team. You can't knock that they're not a fantastic side. And again, with especially with Iheanacho actually stepping up, and Jamie Vardy's getting older. He's 35 now, 34.
Yeah.
He's not getting any younger. So
yeah, but by bringing in Daka,
Daka's great.
They've already addressed that issue with Vardy,
right?
By having the guy from Lille, Sumare, I believe that's how you say his name, coming in, or having Bertrand. Those players are excellent, and let's not forget that Chano, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I believe he's the Nigerian player. He played well last year for them. I mean, he has some great goals, some really influential goals. I think he was also, influential in them winning the cup last year for them. So the FA Cup. So, I mean, look, they have some really good players, and they came out and told Manchester City, "Hey, sit down. I know this is the Community Shield, but hey, we're here to show that we can play and be in that top 4." And I think that they make it this year.
Leicester winning trophies,
yeah.
FA Cup champs and Community Shield goblets of fire there.
Yeah.
So my 4 will be Man U. Again, I think even with the additions of Varane and Sancho, is not going to get you over that top 3 position at all. And again, I did see Eddie say something about Jesse Lingard will score 10 goals and 10 assists if given chance, but that's still wild to me that he's still on United.
That's a real hot take.
It's incredible, though, from the Man United that Jesse Lingard was to his West Ham form, which was out of this world.
Hold him back.
I don't know, but you still got the big crazy guy in the middle. You got Harry Maguire leading. You got Vic. You got a good D. Luke Shaw stepping into his role, and turning out to be the player he was supposed to be. You still got. I know Rashford, I think, is a little knocked up right now, but Cavani, the ageless wonder, he's always going to be a threat. But again, it's not good enough to crack that top 3. So I think they'll stay. And again, probably fight for that 4 or 5 spot, but I think they're good enough to get into the 4 spot. And I know a lot of Man U fans are going to say, "How do you guys have them out of the top 3 from what they did last season?" And it's a fair inquiry, but
you guys.
Right.
The realists not thinking about who they've just. Or what could be. You don't even know if Jadon Sancho is actually even going to start.
He might not. I mean, look,
that's a nice sub to have come off the bench.
It is. I think that most likely when he signed the deal, or even when he agreed to something to his contract, he probably was told that he'll be starting. Most likely, because I doubt he said, "Oh, well, I'm on a Dortmund team where I'm starting and I'm playing well and everything else," and or I can come here and sit the bench.
Yeah.
So I don't anticipate him riding pine.
But again, let me say just to follow up though. I mean, Martial is still a question mark. You have a question mark in starting at least, because he should be a starter on a team. I would say. You have Dan James. You have a lot of different players that should be really, really solid players that might not even start. I mean, Tellez has got a battle with Shaw. You have Trippier with Wan-Bissaka. You know, those are players that all could start on teams here. But yet, I would go as far as to say Man U has one of the most consolidated teams of good talent in the league for sure. Going from just not only the starting 11, but also going into their reserves. And that's why I do have them at least making the only reason why I don't have them higher on my list, at least, is because of Ollie not being a tactical genius. I think he's a good coach and a good manager. Once again, I think he can hold together a locker room. It's hard to hold a lot of those egos at bay when you have a locker room like as he does. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I agreed with so far everything that Philly Sports Passion has said. I don't know if Santos is going to be a regret, but he definitely is going to be it's going to be an interesting year for him to adjust to life in the Prem coming from the.
No, for sure.
Ask your boys, Warner. Ask your boy Kai. It's not easy to make that transition. So it's be interesting.
Grass ain't always greener. We've seen this. The Dortmund players, they like to think that. It's not always that case.
Right.
Yeah, and that Trippier move's not done yet. There's another team in red that's still in play for him. So they don't need death behind Wan-Bissaka. He's proved that he's a pretty good right back.
He is. No, he actually is.
One of the best right backs in England. Not one of
the tackling machine. Right. Actually, I would have said maybe he's the fastest player in the league.
Ooh, that would have been
Wan-Bissaka.
I don't know where he ranks, but yeah, that would have been good.
We all know Trippier is the number one right back in England right now. So.
All right, well, let's.
I'm just going off recent history. That's all.
Sheesh.
I have at number 3. I have my esteemed partner on this panel, Chelsea, making it at number 3. I know that the addition of Lukaku probably makes people think that they are a shoo-in. I think they're going to be a contender challenger. I'm not saying that 3 is a downside. I think it's going to be a real bunched up pack at the top this year of teams that are competing for the championship or for the title. But I really think that Tuchel's charm is going to wear off somewhat this year. He's going to come in having a full year to navigate. It's going to be an interesting process for him this year. And I only say Tuchel's charm is going to wear off simply because of his history of it wearing off at every squad he's been a part of. And again, they have so many. You can put a lot of players on a team, but it gets to the point where, like, where do you play these players? You know, you were talking earlier about Lukaku, and now what does that mean for Tomas? You know, where does he go? Does he get pushed to the wing? You know, where does Kai now fit into that play? You know, because he was doing a somewhat of a resurgence in his form by playing in that striker position occasionally as well. You know, there's a lot of questions, a lot of things. It's good questions to have, good problems to have, but again, I have them at my 3 spot.
Me? You? Who?
Well, I'm going to have my good friend of the program's Liverpool at number 3. So, no, I just feel that.
Well, that's good because I'm actually in agreement, so we can just run off each other on that then. Because I also have Liverpool at number 3.
Again, you can't argue that front 3 is one of the best in the world with Salah, Mane, and Bobby Blue, because I love my boy.
Drafted, he's my striker, fantasy.
Fantastic. You can't argue that 3 is great when clicking on all cylinders. And again, you know, TAA had a down season last year. You got to admit that. And with the 2 injuries and those guys coming back with Virgil and Joe Gomez, but again, those were serious injuries. And you know, that's not always, it takes some time to get those, you know, serious injuries for those guys to come back and be full, you know, 100%. So I'm just a little worried about how that's going to work out. And playing at, say, 85, 80% still might be better than a lot of these guys in the league, but I still worry that, with serious injuries like that, it takes some time and, hopefully no setbacks as well. But still, I think they're going to be there. Like you said, it's going to be jumbled at the top. So no offense, but it's just there's some question marks with those. See how those guys come back and see if they're going to be 100%, throughout.
And to go off that, I guess that was probably my main reason for putting them at third instead of possibly first or second, was just like you said, two major injuries that to two really good players, one phenomenal, great, best player in the world at his position. And you know that I've said that I pushed for him to win the Balloon d'Or when he won it. I thought he deserved it then, and
I still think he deserved it.
Yeah. The guy's an absolute game changer. But it's going to take time. It's going to take time to get comfortable. There's going to be that play early in the season where he's going to maybe hesitate to go because it's in the back of his mind, possibly, that it happens. And we'll see when he gets on the pitch and he really goes. I think he's a gamer. I don't think it's going to last long. But I think the biggest question is I'm still waiting. And I know they're not a big splash team. We talk about it. Knowing you and knowing all the ins and outs of how Liverpool works nowadays, I get it. I'm still waiting to see that name in the midfield. I feel like if it doesn't need to be a major name, it doesn't need to be a huge name, but that Liverpool guy, that guy that they go out and, I know Thiago's there and hasn't got his opportunity to shine yet. And I know Jordan's great. He's also coming off some injuries, but we know Oxlade-Chamberlain. We know Naby Keita. We know James Milner. We know Fabinho. We know, and they're good players. They're great players. They're good guys. I don't know if Jota can work his way more into a midfield role as opposed to a forward role. Same thing. I love Shaq. Shaq's a great 20-minute guy, 30-minute guy. He's a great. He's a great starter in cup games. In games. In games that, you don't have to take as seriously. Shaq's a great guy, but
Shaq is actually, it was reported today too that they're still working on it, but Shaq's on his way out. So
okay, I thought that was going to be a possibility too. So it's just who's going to kind of take that reins in the midfield and help, put the ball in the net, help control this team and help run things. And I think that's the one thing maybe they're missing.
I have retorts to that, but I'll save my retorts.
I'm okay. Yeah, it's okay. We can talk more about it as the season goes on. Because
I appreciate your comments. They're both warranted. Absolutely.
And I only made them off of my knowledge that I've gained from you and what Liverpool does. And again, I'm not downing those guys. I think Jordan Henderson's phenomenal player. I think Thiago's a great player. I'm still waiting on him I'm waiting on half of Arsenal to do stuff. So don't
right.
Yeah. So
well, then who's number two then? Who are
so number two for me? Then I have United taking that step.
Oh.
I'm in the news today, and I'm looking at they bring Paul Pogba back in again. Obviously, places like PSG don't have the paychecks for Paul Pogba anymore. I don't see him. You're not yet, but
I believe. Well, because I believe, not to cut you off, I was going to say real quick that I believe that number two with Pogba, just so people can understand this, he's waiting for a lot of more players nowadays are waiting for to be on the free, as opposed to being transferred or having their next destination chosen for them. Look, they don't. A lot of these players don't look at these teams and say we owe you really much of anything, considering that how much you make off of us. So Pogba is looking to do possibly what Mbappe is doing in Paris, which is honoring his contract, seeing it out, and then moving on to the team that will go. And it also helps teams as well when you sign a player that way, because it doesn't come into the whole financial fair play, even though that's been reduced, but it ends up being those types of things. Just wanted to make sure if you understood that.
Yeah, I do. And I just look at it as if they can somehow extend him, though, and they can keep him in-house, which they're trying to do, even without him. I think I know we're going to talk down on Sancho a little bit because it is a big jump. And not down on. I'm not saying down on. Sorry, wrong choice of words. But it is a big jump. We all know that. I'm the first one to say it. The only advantage that Jadon Sancho has is Jadon Sancho's home. Jadon Sancho doesn't have to travel. Jadon Sancho doesn't have to deal with new weather and new food and a language he doesn't totally understand. Jadon Sancho's going to be pretty comfortable. He's
his friends and everything else.
And he's playing for his boyhood club. It's more, can Jadon Sancho take this seriously and continue to work and not just now be like, I made it to United. Let's sit back and chill. Like, can I be now one of the better players in the world and take United back to that next level? And it is a lot of pressure, but he has a lot of talent around him, and he has a good system that seems to be in place. Whether you say, I don't think Ole's the greatest tactical genius in the world either, but whatever he's been doing has been working. They've been slightly progressing outside of the Champions League snafu and getting kind of knocked out a little early there, but they stepped up. They made it to the Europa final. They lost. That's another chip on their shoulder. They made a nice run at the top four and got their way back up again last year. I think they're a good team. And again, I don't know about Varane. Maybe Adam and I both said we don't think he's probably the same defender as he seemed to be a couple years ago, but he could also come into this league and shine. He could be, I said it, even though Van Dijk came from internally within the Premier League, he could be the best center back addition since Van Dijk in the Prem. So don't
forget about my man's Ruben Diaz.
I know he's been very good. I had him on fantasy last year.
He's been good. He's on my team.
And not to give it away. There's only one team left. I don't have him this year, but there's only one. There's a reason why probably a few of us might be picking City number one. So, but yeah, I have United at 2.
Well, I had Chelsea obviously by, I guess.
Well, you could have had City.
I could have flip-flopped those two, but I mean, Chelsea, they didn't really make many moves. If not, I feel like they added from all 20 people that was on loan, bringing them back. I don't know if Ruby Loftus-Cheek's going to stay. Obviously, Lukaku signing is definitely a huge impact on the offensive end, since Timo just, I don't know what are they going to do with him? I have no clue. I feel like if he shits the bed again this season, he's out. I guess it all comes down to the defense and that Tuchel magic rubbing off. They had such a great season. I would say overachieved last year. And again, the fitness of all the players. They played a shit ton of games, especially the Italians and all the guys in the Euros. Not much of a break. So, again, we'll see. I think it'll be close, but it's going to be tough. Yeah. There's a lot of good teams that are going to be fighting for that number one spot. And, do they have the opportunity? Sure, maybe. But I feel like City is just slightly better than them.
I have Man City at my number 2. I still think they need a striker. I think Jesus is a quality player, but I still think they need a striker. I still think they need a left back. If it is coming, that's great. If Kane comes, then that's a whole different story, obviously, But considering Pep said that 3 or 4 players are about to be on the out, so they're about to. There's a couple players that are going to be leaving this team, and I think they're going to be players that are good players that are going to recoup some of that $100 million that they just gave up for one player in Jack Grealish.
There is rumblings that if Arsenal misses out on Maddison, they could be in on Silva because him and Arteta had a good relationship. So
okay, yeah. So again, there's going to be some changing of the guards when it comes to what you see for this Manchester City team. And look, they also have to deal with the distraction of the fact that the Premier League is looking into their books, that the Premier League doesn't have to, be handcuffed as the last FFP was, with how far back they can go and what's the time, the time sequence or time allowance for what they can actually prosecute on. And I think the reason why because look, Manchester City has never done a $100 million transfer. This is the largest transfer they've ever done. Okay. And what I've said, Jack Grealish would have been that player. No, but at the same time, they have this $100 million transfer. I believe that the only reason why they might look at making another $160 million transfer and have $260 million being put out, or even $100 million put out, is because they know what's about to come. They know what's about to come. It's the same thing that happened to Chelsea, in that they might be on a transfer ban, relegated by the Premier League. And by that happening, it means, hey, get it out now. Get your spending out now, because this is the team you're going to see. And other than that, you're going to have to do what Chelsea did, which is pull from their youth academy, and which I'm sure they have some great players in the youth academy. But all the same, this might be their big last splash for a couple years, and it should be interesting. So that's why I have that Man City being at my number 2.
Yeah, I think personally, I see some moves possibly happening, like you said, especially if they are going to try and bring in Kane. The only way they're freeing up some money, or the only way they're doing that, is to free up some money. Possibly, I don't know, maybe a Mahrez going out, maybe an Ilkay going out somewhere. I mean, I don't know what else, because you're adding more midfield now. So those are guys that you're going to have to possibly, or like we said, Silva. I think they're deep enough on defense. That defense looks ridiculous now, with the fact that Ruben Diaz is as good as he is. John Stones has his head out of his ass. He became a good player. You still have Nate Ake, who everybody forgot about. He's still a solid central defender. You have Aymeric Laporte, who's healthy again. I think Zinchenko's fine at left back. He's still young, with Mendy there as well, as long as they're still there. Like you said, there are question marks. And Adam and I said this in the beginning of the show. I don't know if you caught it, but like everything we do today, we're going to have to readdress in a month anyway when the transfer window closes. Because tomorrow we could wake up and these teams could be completely different in realistically. So there's some opportunity. But I think they have enough to win it again. I think they have enough depth. I think they have the right coach. I think they're deep enough in the back, as long as Ederson can stay healthy. Even without, I think Zach, that would be cool for us if Ederson actually does get hurt and Zach had to get thrown to the fire for the season. Might hurt their chances of winning the league, and it might really help his chances to play some of the best ball he's ever going to play in his life, and some meaningful minutes. So, yeah. But I personally think, with Adams, Boy, De Bruyne, and all that squad that it is, if they hold on to Sterling and they add Harry Kane, I don't see anybody stopping them. I just don't. Not this year. Not this year.
I'd like to retort by saying, Liverpool has what it takes to do what it could be, which is, this is a season of redemption, and it's the reason why I have Liverpool at my number 1, and it's the reason why I strongly think that they can push them to the brink. And there's some question marks still on that Manchester City team. I think that will need to be addressed. And there's a lot of pressure being a $100 million player and having to not necessarily be. I mean, there's no guarantee that Grealish even starts, to be honest with you.
No, there's not. Looking at this roster, there's definitely not.
There's really not.
Nope.
And how many teams can you say would have a $100 million player sitting the bench?
Yeah.
So.
He didn't really seem to embrace that super sub role either under Southgate. So I don't know if he would embrace it here as well. So.
Right.
He wants to win.
Yeah. He's a gamer.
He's a gamer. I don't know. I mean, I think they're just too strong. Yes, the striker position is definitely a question mark. And if they somehow get Harry Kane, pull that out of their asses, then we're talking a whole different ball game here. We're talking from them winning for maybe like 5 points to them winning maybe by like 10 to 12. Like,
Look,
that's how big of an impact a man that just led the league with the Golden Boot and assists last year would come into a team that already has the second best or the best passer, assist man in De Bruyne on your team. It's just with that defense that just is with Ruben Diaz being what he is, like Brian said, and just, it's just so deep and so strong. It's going to be tough.
I understand that completely. I just think that realistically, and this is realistically, I know it's on paper because that's what we're dealing with. You
got to go buy off something, right?
Right, you got to go off something, and it's hard. And that's why I'm saying, if I were to ask you who has the best starting 11 in the Premier League, I could arguably say that Liverpool has the best starting 11, especially.
It's very close.
I would have.
They have because you can't say any player on that back line, starting with goaltender, the back line that we have now that we do have Gomez and VVD coming back, and that we do now have the addition of Kunde and then or Conte, excuse me, and we do have the additions of Matip being healthy, and those are very, very, very important. And
I would say you're 2-2 on defense. I would say your front three takes the whole cake, and I would say their midfield takes the whole cake, though.
Right, because I mean, like you're gonna tell me that Fabinho doesn't make a starter on any squad? Yes. You're gonna tell me that Thiago doesn't, possibly one of the best midfilders in the world, doesn't? Yes,
I would take KDB over. KDB's making it number one.
KDB is a great player. I'm not.
Diaz and Kyle Walker to go with Virgil and Robertson.
Come on.
You just said he's the fastest man in the league.
Fastest.
I was watching him wear that England patch all summer.
Yeah,
I wasn't watching Trent.
No disrespect.
And he played really well.
Because he got injured.
Kyle Walker played really well in the Euros.
Sure.
Really well.
The same thing that happened.
He did.
The same thing that happened with Trent. Same thing that happened to Trent could happen to Kyle or any of these players. Yeah. Injuries happen. But realistically, let's be honest. Henderson is still one of the best captains by far in the Prem. And you need those players. You need teams that have some type of unity. You need teams that understand the schemes. You need teams that have some type of camaraderie amongst each other. And I'm telling you,
City didn't have it. Like, I don't know who their leader was last year, but they still won the league.
KDB is their leader. KDB is their leader. I'm not trying. That's why I say when you said the comment about KDB, I'm not showing any disrespect. That's one of the main reasons why I picked them to go as far in the Euros was because of KDB and because he brings that Belgium team together.
Well, maybe Fernand Torres steps up. Maybe who knows. I think losing Kung may be beneficial.
I think João Cancelo is going to be low key very good as well. It's a deep team. It's a very deep team, but I'm just trying to get across that I believe that Liverpool this year has not had to go through all the long season once again that your Manchester City's had to, that even your Manchester's had to, Manchester United's had to, those teams, your Chelsea's, all those teams had to go through long extended seasons. And for
you got a nice little break like us.
Yeah, no, well, Sadio said it.
Them in the same breath, please.
Sadio came out and spoke recently, and Sadio isn't one to get up on the mic and start talking. But Sadio started talking about this year, and Sadio was one of those players last year that had a down season for his stance or his level of play. And Sadio came out and said, "Hey, this was one of the first summers that I actually had a longer than 10-day break to recover, a longer than 10-day break to get my mental back, to be with my family, to be able to build new bridges with my teammates." Those things are important, and those things will show some real accolades or some real results, I should say, when it comes to the season. And that's why I have them at number one. I'm I'm not saying that only because they're my squad. I'm not saying that only because I love the team, but I'm saying it because realistically, it's hard to repeat. It's the realistic part of it is that coming in at third place last year, but only being 3-4 games off of the first spot makes me go, okay, we had all these injuries, we had all these different turmoil going on through our team. Those games with a solid squad, a healthy squad, we're winning those games. Those teams, once we get a little momentum rocking and rolling, we're competing once again. And I think that's why this year is going to be a massive year for Liverpool. I think it's going to be us as making Europe red again, and that's what I have it. No, and I know I'm going to get the flack from all my rivals and all my haters, but all the same, I really believe that.
You're fresh.
Yeah, we're fresh.
No excuses. You got to win now.
Hey.
Well, by that theory, we're as fresh as can be. So
Arsenal been fresh for a while.
Yeah, we got a ton of rest. We don't play anywhere. So.
Well, guys, this has been great.
Unfortunately,
I got to.
We all got to get going. We all got to get going here. Season starts tomorrow.
Yeah, this has been great. Again, thanks, Lord Walker, for jumping on again and going over our top 6 and bottom 3. Again, it's that time of year again. It's beautiful. The Prem's back. Again, tomorrow, 3:00, Brentford Arsenal will kick us off on a brand new Premier League season. Then a full slate this weekend. But yeah, we could talk about this whole season for the next 2 hours. But again, thank you guys again. We will see you on Tuesday to recap the weekend and go over.
And with all new opinions.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure something weird's going to happen that will be like, whoa, no way. Watford or Norwich wins over City or something crazy, or Liverpool, Norwich, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Something crazy. But yes, again, good luck to everybody's teams out there.
You as well. Go Palace.
Start.
Hey, real quick, yeah. Hey, I was just in Vegas this weekend, and they're 1,200. They're plus 12. Their money line is plus 1,200. That Crystal Palace over Chelsea. I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't just throw a waiver on that one, considering how Villarreal showed you guys, hey, people are coming for your heads this year.
Look, when he was on top, we came at him. Now they're the champs. So it's
yay.
When you're on, absolutely. All right, guys.
Let up or shut up time.
Let's Adam get to work. We'll see you guys on Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right, love you guys. See ya.
All right,
Thank you, guys.
You.